Welcome to the Rap Jux podcast. Welcome to the Rap Jux podcast. Welcome. Yo, what's good? What's happening? What's popping? It's your boy Prophet, Profhit, aka Popper from Uptown, back at it again with another one. Man, look. Jim Jones, man, the boys had a wild weekend. Let's get into it. So for those of you who don't know, Jim Jones has went viral this weekend for a numerous amount of things, but most notably him talking about comparing himself to Nas, the rapper Nas. He had some choice words. He basically, had his opinion about someone saying that he was better than Nas, somebody from a Gen Z or whatever, and he was on Jadakiss and Fat Joe's new podcast, and he had some choice words. So here's a clip of what he had to say. This is fair use taken from Jadakiss and Fat Joe and Jadakiss show. But peep out Jimmy.
Saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy.
big hits.
He's wild.
He looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying, Nas is like a god.
In my era too. I mean,
so to be compared,
let me
that young kid out. He was young, and we loved that he loved Jim Jones. I want you to break it down.
Let's break this down. I admired Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade.
Yes.
So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan. Period. I'd never take that away from him. But then, as I got in the game, you got to realize that.
Nas featured on a song called "Live at the Barbecue," I believe, a main source song on their album, and Nas was a feature. He notably had the line, I think he said he went to jail for snuffing Jesus, or something along those lines. But yeah, let me continue.
The rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that, I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation. We're talking about 94, 93. I was in 11th grade. Nigga, it's 2025. There's a big gap there, you know what I mean? And I want people to understand.
Now, keep in mind, Jim Jones is 48, Nas is 52. That's a 4-year difference. So if he was in 11th grade, Nas, I believe he didn't finish high school. Nas was only 4 years older than him. So 11th grade, you're usually 16, 17 years old. Nas is 16, 17, 18, 19, no more than 20, about 20 years old. But he's acting as if he was a child. Nas was already this old man in the game. But let me continue.
So when Shorty's telling people that, yeah, he's 20-some years old, that goes to show the part of the era that he's in, that I came into light and started going crazy, that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them know. But
you know what I mean?
A lot of them know.
Yes.
But it's the era.
Some music.
No,
some kids that.
No, I love that.
Some kids that love hip hop.
20, so I mean,
but he's your son.
He's your son.
He's your son.
No, but he knows.
My son
Nas.
Can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck here.
Yeah, but
like,
let's keep.
And this is where the disrespect starts. Now, shame on you for being, quote unquote, at this point, an OG in the game, even though you don't act like it. I'm talking about Jim Jones. And you hear Jadakiss chime in saying, my son's 20-something. He knows Nas. And, he's like, that's your son. And then Jim says, my son don't know nothing about Nas. He's 20-something. And I think that's kind of hard to believe. If If your son knows Jay-Z, he knows Nas. Point blank, period. So let him continue. But this is where the disrespect starts.
Let's keep it a buck. You heard? Let's keep it a buck because you'll bring it up. There must be some type of misconception or what's that word? When it comes to Jim Jones and what Jim Jones have done in this game. A lot of these rappers...
We made him take the darkies off.
A lot of these rappers have done a tremendous job, and I take nothing away from them. But they forget, I got a hell of a catalog. Me, Jim Jones, myself. Gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record. Then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries. Then check all them niggas' entries and shit like that. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody. But I hear the
Now, while he's saying this, you should see Fat Joe's face looking at him like, man, nigga, you crazy. You do know we see you. You do know we know you. But let him continue.
Comparisons and then niggas be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard, and if you want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries, then pull up my billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I want to go there. I want to go down the line now because now we going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I want to go statistically because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
Forget about the numbers. My numbers back up.
Let me step up to the forefront. Us in the music of hip hop culture have a problem. Is a thing, and there's nothing. The world goes off numbers, but in hip hop, we don't pay enough homage to those before us the correct way, and sometimes it's even myself. So it gets. No other genre of music fucking, I don't even know who to use.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, hip hop is like basketball.
Jelly Roll's never gonna say that about
hip hop is like basketball.
Jelly Roll.
John Morant get on the court with LeBron. He's going to kill LeBron.
Telling you that
so this is what this is about.
Any song, any of that shit is murder.
This is what this is about.
That don't got nothing
there's
to do
nothing
with
that there's never is me. Putting me up against anybody, I'm taking me every time. Every time.
Okay, but let me say something though, Jim.
In every category, I get busy.
You started off saying you grew up watching Nas. The only problem,
I didn't take that away from
the only situation I'm saying now to you, right? There is no situation.
I always tell people
kids
that
should
story.
worship you.
You fucking started.
No, I'm not doing this. I did not know it was going there.
Because you're really friends with him.
He gonna be mad at you.
Not me. I don't know him. You heard?
Oh, he's a beautiful guy.
I understand
That's my brother. No, he's a beautiful guy.
But he gonna be mad at you.
I'm not
bring
mad
my
at
name
me.
up in that conversation, bro. Like,
He
come
just
on,
asked
bro.
Yeah, but we didn't know all that.
What he
We
do
always-
all the time, something he saw on the internet
You're not
that
gonna
he
mention
didn't have
me
to
next
act.
All right, so I'm gonna end it right there. So if you listen to the video, it starts out with this paraphrase. Fat Joe basically brings up an interview that he saw online where there was this young Gen Zer saying that Jim Jones is better than Nas. He don't know anything about Nas hits. Jim Jones got more hits that this, that, and the third. The problem comes when Jim Jones chimes in. First of all, he said his son, who's 20, don't know none of Nas songs, and that's kind of hard to believe. Second of all, he goes on this tirade about compare him, put him up against Nas on billboards, this, that, and the third. Now that could be easily debunked with just a quick Google search. If you Google Nas platinum albums, you'll easily see that Nas has 8 platinum albums, not counting his gold albums. Like 4 of these albums top Billboard charts. He's certified platinum or multi-platinum on 8 of those albums. So Jim Jones, if you Google him and ask the same question, he has 0 platinum albums. So first of all, the problem is Jim Jones lied, just flat up lied. Now I don't know if he's delusional, but it's kind of hard for me to think that he don't know how much record sales he had. So that's the first thing. The second thing was just the blatant disrespect of saying that your son don't know Nas and these kids know him. Dude, you're 48 years old. So for these kids to still know you kind of proves, I don't want to say proves, shows your target audience. You talking about vampires, bloods, this and that. You talking about your blood. I don't know if you grew up in blood. I know gangbanging is a West Coast thing. There's rumors of you testifying and ratting and being an informant. There's all kind of stuff against Jim Jones. Now, let me give you my rap on this. There's a video that resurfaced from like 2007 of Nas basically dissing Jim Jones, and I guess it was around the time him and the Diplomats had beef. Their beef started when Nas said he didn't like Cameron's album. Cameron had just released the album. This is around 2007ish, and Nas said he didn't like it, and then it stems on a back and forth. Cam to put out a lot of records. Cam even has since apologized, saying he think he went a little bit too hard on Nas and the diss. Now me, honestly, I didn't hear none of those records. I wasn't a Dipset fan. I like Cam now, but as far as music back then, I wasn't listening to the Dipset. And for him to say it's a young thing, and all right, so before I go there, I wasn't listening to it, so I don't know. But that's where the beef started. And Nas was somewhere, and I guess someone asked him about the beef, and he even went on saying, how does it sound me even writing something about Jim Jones? This was around the time Baldwin was out. Excuse me. So he kind of belittled Jim Jones' name. So Jim Jones' reaction to being asked about a Nas comparison could, that reaction could stem from the past beef, But the fact that he lied is even a bigger problem, and he tried to belittle Nas. Nas put out like 3 or 4 albums with the King's Disease albums and the other series he did. Nas has been very active recently, within the past 5 years, putting out music with Hit Boy. So that's bullshit. And Nas, and I'm gonna do a video on this, who is owner. I want to say, is he the owner? Or I think he's the owner of what's the name of the joint? Man, I can't think of it. The label that he's under just put out a new project with Slick Rick. I'll talk about that. Victory, I believe, is the name of that Slick Rick joint. I'll talk about that another time in another video soon. But so not to get back off track, back on Jim Jones. So yeah, the disrespect, the lies, quick Google search will show you that it's not true. But I'm thinking that the answer kind of stemmed back from the past beef. Even though the beef's supposed to be over, Cam said it's over with him. Maybe Jim Jones never moved on. Then Jim Jones went on Shannon Nightcap, with Ocho and Shannon. And him and Shannon had a few words. It was playful, but very, very loud and boisterous by both parties. He basically said that he can outwork Shannon Sharpe, who's a former athlete, very cut up in diesel to this current day. But he said that Jim Jones said he can outwork Shannon in the gym. That story went viral. Jim Jones came back out since then, I heard today, and said something along the lines that, when it came to talking about the Nas albums and all that, he was, quote unquote, I don't want to say quote, I guess he was kind of like trolling to show some of the old heads how marketing works in this day and age. And he's right. In this day and age, man, the Charleston White effect, as I call it, and I don't want to pick on Charleston White, but these dudes do anything to go viral, because viral and views is basically dollars nowadays. It's like buying record sales, albums. But Jim Jones is basically saying, for all these, when he was beefing with Shannon, he said, because Shannon even confirmed about the Nas thing. Excuse me. And Shannon said that you bugging thinking that you can beat Nas, lyrically, whatever. Jones said something about only 40 and 50-year-olds got, their panties in a bunch about the Nas comments. Most of the younger dudes, the millennials and Gen Zers, rolling with him. Now let me say this. I heard Jim Jones has gotten better. I never really got into his music. Of course, I heard a couple of singles. But for him to say that 40 and 50-year-olds are just kind of like on Nas, because Nas is from my generation, I listen to J. Cole. He's not a part of Nas' generation. I listen to Kendrick. He's not a part of Nas' generation. That's just to name a couple of them, a couple of people, who's been active within the past 10 years in hip hop. So for him to say that it's just a 40, be old and be rolling with Nas because of his age and it's, the time he can, he was in our era, that's a lie. Because if you know hip hop, and everybody, hip hop is a thing where it's your choice. Everybody got their own. It's objective. Everybody got their own. Well, no, it's subjective, I should say, because everybody got their own types of hip hop and music and lyricists and what they like about the music and how they want the music delivered. Sometimes you're in the mood for this, sometimes you're in the mood for that. I've never been in the mood for a Jim Jones album. And if he's still talking about doing YN shit at almost 50, then I probably ain't gonna never listen to none of his albums. But not just because he raps about doing street shit, because, I listen to Griselda. It's about the creativity. Conway, one of the illest to me, and it's about how you put these words together. So I think that my rap is Jim Jones was truly, truly trolling when it comes to Nas. I heard he works out a lot. He might be trolling when it comes to Shannon, but in this day and age, all publicity is good publicity, whether it's looked at as bad or good. And I think that that's exactly what he set out to accomplish, and mission accomplished. My brother, in the group text, we were chatting each other, and he said basically Jim Jones went viral without hiring a lawyer. Something along those lines, man. So he, that was his mission accomplished, because I'm talking about it and videos have inundated the internet, and I figure I better jump on before it be old news, because news moves so fast. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts. Y'all think he was trolling? You think that he really believed what he's saying? You think that he can outwork Shannon in the gym? You think that he really believed that he had more hits and platinum hits albums than Nas? Or do you think that he was just straight up trolling, keeping his name in the algorithms like Charleston White? And just everybody nowadays, not just Charleston White. So, of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe to the video, and until the next one, peace.